So it's been quite some time since I've done an actual custom card video, and I think one of the last ones that I did was on something like, I think, Zodiac or Vylon. Actually, yeah, it was Vylon, which is kind of crazy to think about because that was some time ago. So let's get into these ones and let's talk about them. I have 5 cards dedicated to Numeron. And I know it sounds scary. Oh, Numeron, it's a very scary deck because it could turbo out number S0 for free. But let's get into it and let's talk about it. I have 5 total cards and let's go. So first up, we have Numeron Game Loop to Mulia. It is a card that I did some research on the naming convention for it because I'm like, oh, what do all of them have in common? And it was quite obvious, so I just decided, let's do the naming convention there. So this is a level 1 Fiend Effect monster with 0 attack and defense. So what does this one do? Well, if you control a rank 1 number monster or a Numeron monster, you can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. Then you can add 1 Numeron or rank up magic spell from your deck to your hand, and you can only special summon Numeron Gate Loop to Molia once per turn this way, and this card can be treated as 2 materials for the Exceed summon of a number Exceed monster that requires 3 materials or 3 or more materials. So breaking down this card, I took inspiration off of Numeron Wall because it does its thing to grab Numeron Network, but the one thing that I did for this card is that you can add 1 Numeron or rank up magic spell from your deck to your hand on special summon, or honestly, it's good. So you get to get any of your rank up magics if you need, or if you need to get your Numeron Network, you have a way to get to it. Now, one of the things I do want to note is that I did take the effect from something like the Heraldric Beast Griffin, because I really think those are very useful, being able to treat something as 2 materials to summon out a monster that takes 3 materials instead. And I kind of wish Konami does work with that more, because that would be unique ways to make some decks function. And I would like to see a deck that's just based around just that. So if you have 2 of them, go overlay into a rank 4 that takes 4 level 4s. That would be insane if it were to work like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how Konami expands on that going into the future. So next up, we have a big scary card to take a look at, and that is the Numeron IC 1000 Numeronius Imaginary Gate Sunya. Now this is a big Sunya upgrade. As I was thinking about this support, thinking, how do I make a better boss monster than Sunya? Well, let's combine Numeronius number C1000 and Sunya and see how that goes. So it is a very, very large effect, but we can get into it. Being a rank 3 Dark Fiend Exceed effect monster with 4,000 attack and 2,500 defense, it takes 6 level 3 monsters. You can also Exceed summon this card by using a number C1 Numeron Chaos Gate Sunya you control as material. Transfer its materials to this card. If this card is Exceed summoned this way, apply the following effects from the start of the next turn after this card was special summoned. Monsters your opponent controls must attack this card if able. All monsters in your opponent's possessions cannot activate their effects. And then during your main phase, except the turn that this card was special summoned, banish all other cards on the field, and while this Exceed summon monster is on the field, neither player can special summon monsters from the extra deck except number monsters. So when looking at Sunya itself, it is a powerful Exceed monster because you could just banish all monsters and then return the Sunya back, dealing burn damage. So I kind of just mixed the Numeronius together with Sunya and Utopic Zexal all together because of that one bullet point. So this card is a very powerful card because it is harder to make since it takes 6 level 3 monsters. But in a deck like Numeron, you have to commit to summoning out the Sunya first, and that's your 5th summon, or your additional summon after that. Then you could go on the next turn to summon this out. So this is more like a turn 3 play, unless if you utilize other cards that could go into said card. Now, I did think about that, but we're not going to get to that card later. But having a 4,000 attack monster or 2,500 defense wall is very good. And since it is not a Numeron, it doesn't get the double the attack from Numeron Network like all the others do, or through the gates and all that. So it's just one thing that you do have to realize, because it's not an actual Numeron monster, it's a Numeronius monster. So after that, let's get into the next one, being Illusion Numeron Control, a brand new spell card, and it's detach Exceed materials from your face-up Exceed monsters, special summon as many Exceed monsters from your graveyard or banishment to your field, but their effects are negated, also they're banished during the end phase. If a number monster is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target face-up cards on the field up to the number of Exceed monsters you control. Negate their effects, and you cannot special summon monsters except number Exceed monsters for the rest of the turn, and you can only activate one Illusion Numeron Control per turn. So what does this do? Well, it is, you have your Sunny on the board, you can detach 4 materials, you can special summon as many Exceed monsters from your graveyard as possible, but it is locking you into number Exceed monsters, which is the whole entire point of Numeron. And honestly, having a card like this would be very interesting, but their effects are negated, but that's absolutely fine because you could just utilize those for another Sunya maybe. But realistically, having a card that says, oh, you could banish this from your graveyard, target face-up cards on the field, up to the number of Exceeds you control, negate their effects, and not being a quick effect though, which doesn't have a hindrance to it, but being able to just activate it on your turn if you have 4 Numerons on your board, just to blanket negate the field so you could just attack for game easier, especially in today's age, it's kind of worth it in a way, but realistically, it's just a card here just to summon as many Numerons onto the field as possible during the turns later if you have Exceed materials to detach. And realistically, I definitely like the idea, but in execution, I don't think it's going to be good. The next card is Hyper Rank Up Magic Numeron Force. This is a quick play spell because I did not want it to work with specific cards in the archetype. So what does this Hyper Rank Up Magic do? Well, target up to 4. Let me zoom in more. It allows you to target up to 4 rank 2 or lower Numeron Exceed monsters you control. Special summon 1 rank 3 or higher Numeronius Exceed monster from your extra deck by using those Exceed monsters you control as material. Then the summoned monsters gains 2,000 attack for each material. This is treated as an Exceed summon. If a face-up number monsters in its owner's control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Special summon 1 number monster with a rank lower or a lower rank from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions, and you can only use 1 effect of a Hyper Rank Up Magic Numeron Force once per turn. So what was I thinking when I made this? Well, kind of needed a Numeron Rank Up Magic that worked with Numeronius's. So you could target up to 4 rank 2 or lower Numeron, so it worked with Sunya to rank up into the new Sunya during the opponent's turn. And this makes it where on the next turn, the effect goes into play where your opponent must attack and cannot activate the effects. So it is a thing of where, oh yeah, it locks your opponent out, but on my turn, so you could just be able to smack with a 4K wall, but it also gains an additional 2K attack for each material added. Now, this does allow you to summon out both Numeronius Numeronia or Numeronius because they're both Numeronius Exceed monsters. And realistically, giving them any amount of attack is scary, but overall, it's definitely a way to summon them out easily, but get their attack not as on par as what they are if you summon them normally, because if you use the Chaos Ritual, your Numeronius becomes 10k, and then your Numeronius Numeronia becomes 100,000 attack if it's summoned by Numeronius. So it is a discount way to summon it, making them weaker, And you can do anywhere from 1 all the way up to 4. So that's 2,000 all the way up to 8,000 if needed. But it does make it where the illusionary Sunya is scary, but realistically, you could still use a lot of things against it, like you could go Dominus Impulse, especially on something like this, and realistically, it could see play in the future if it was a real card, but I definitely think that this is just a fun card to mess around with. I don't know if it's going to be good or not, but summoning out literally any Numeronius Exceed monster could be powerful. And then, of course, to round out the support, I really couldn't think of a 5th card because I kind of just want to give each theme that I do custom cards for 5 cards. And let's just give it something on the lines of, well, a counter trap. You have Numeron Revision. When a spell, trap, or a monster effect is activated while you control a number or Numeron Exceed monster, negate the activation, and if you do, special summon 1 rank 1 Numeron Gate Exceed monster from your extra deck. If this card is destroyed by a card effect, you can target 1 Numeron spell card in your graveyard, add it to your hand, and you can only activate 1 Numeron Reversion effect per turn, and only once that turn. So you're negating something, and or if you destroy it, you just get to grab back a Numeron spell card. Now, you could change it to where you could banish this card from your graveyard to target a Numeron spell card to add it back to your hand. But realistically, I definitely think that this is a card that's just like, oh yeah, just negate something to summon out a number or Numeron Exceed monster from your extra deck. Or just a Numeron Gate, I should say, while you control a number or a Numeron Exceed. So, realistically, it's just a basic counter trap for the deck, and it does work in pretty much anything. And the one downside is I didn't make it searchable, because why would you make a counter trap like this searchable where it gives you a free monster on the board? And realistically, you can summon out the Ekum, you can summon out any of your gates, really, outside of the one that I created for this video, because that's not a Numeron once again. But it's just a thing that I just had my thought process on for about a month, ever since I got the request to do Numeron. But this is really my take on a 5-card support, if you want to give it to it. And I want to know what you guys think about these custom cards that I created for Numeron, because I've just been sitting on them for quite some time. I'm currently still also sitting on others as well, and I think the other one that I've been sitting on happens to be Cubic, and I don't know where to start with that, because Cubic is just that random archetype where, okay, yeah, you have 1 part, and then you have 2 part, and then you have the sisters 1 card. So it's kind of weird on how Cubic can go. But anyways, I'm gonna end this video here. If you guys did enjoy this custom card video, hit that like button down below, and if you want to see more content like this, tell me down in the comments. Also, we just hit 2,000 subs not too long ago, so thank you everyone for that. I'm still trying to think of something if I want to do it, something for that anniversary. I might wait till like 2,500. But we're gonna have to wait and see on that. But anyways, I've been BoltSpider. I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I'll see you all in the next video.